Okay, nice everyone. Hi, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yesterday I did the mistake of looking for my name on YouTube. Don't do that. But I actually found my first presentation at APS 7 years ago. That's crazy. And I'm so glad that, I kind of grew with this conference as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here talking about the trend topic of the day, it seems. So let's talk about web. A little bit about myself. So I come from Italy and I'm in Berlin. I think this is important. I've been working in marketing for the past 13 years, 8 of them in mobile app subscription. I work at Paired, I work at Blinkist, and actually 2 months ago I decided to leave my full-time CMO job to become a fractional CMO. And today I'm here representing Ahead. If you don't know about Ahead, it's a pocket coach for your emotional intelligence. So it's an app that helps you to understand and handle your emotion. I started with them around September, and today I'm going to actually bring a lot of examples from them as well. I'm going to try to run because I tested my presentation this morning. It took me 25 minutes and I have 15. So if you see me running and trying to grasp from air, you know why. So we're going to talk about web. Why are we even doing that? Or what is the reason? How can we do that? And also some insights and lessons learned. Initially, my idea was to do a step-by-step guide. We would stay here the entire day if I had done that. So I'm going to be a little bit high level, but I hope I can give you some insights, some learning, some mistakes that I've done that will help to make your life easier if you want to approach web. Let's start from, the shift to web acquisition. This is not something that you do just because it seems easy or other apps are doing that. It needs strategic planning. It needs resources. It needs the plan. And there's a lot of advantages. For example, you have visibility, you have tracking, you have access to a new audience. And of course, if you convert people on web, better renewal rates, higher margins. But also you have disadvantages. You need a lot of resources. It's not just running, an ad on Meta and sending people to the store. I mean, not that is easy, but you need a bit more resources as well. And also you are going to tap into an audience that is a little bit more expensive. So when it comes to, I'm going to try again. Okay. You do it. Okay, so when it comes to the type of acquisition that you can do it through a lot of different ways, but there are 2 mainstream, I would say. One is the web to app and one is the web to web. On the web to app funnel, what happens is that you lead people to a landing page, but ultimately you direct them back to the app flow. So the conversion and everything are actually happening on the app store side. While on the web to web, it's a little bit different because normally you lead people to web and they actually stay there and converts on web. Probably the easier way to tap into the web acquisition is the mini landing pages. I call them like that, but to be honest, people call them in a lot of different ways. This is the low hanging fruits. Why? Because they're kind of easy as you can see. And the flow is just a step in the middle. So you have the ads, you land them to a landing page. There's a big button that says go to the store, you go to the app store. So you're just adding this extra step that of course could hurt your conversion. So you need to pay attention. But I'll tell you about a trick that I learned later on. And these are especially working for social media channels. They're used on Meta. I use them on TikTok as well. So again, it can really help to enhance your strategy. What are the elements? You have the landing page. Landing page is super easy. So there are 4 examples here. They're really different. Usually what happens is that the landing page kind of recall the topic of your ads. So if your ads are, let's say, in different buckets, let's say that you have ads targeting mothers and ads targeting dads, potentially you could develop 2 different landing pages for them. The tracking, it could be tricky. This is the easier option, but tracking is tricky here. Why? Because you send people on web, but then you redirect them to mobile. So you need cross-functional tracking, and the MMP usually can help you here, but they're all different. So Singular offer a web SDK that you integrate on your website. On Adjust, you need to be more manual and create the MMP link that you will use on the page. It's a mess. If you need more info, reach out to me. And then when it comes to the campaign, of course, it's a web campaigns. You want to optimize by deep down the funnel events. But you can only optimize for web events. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that when an event happens on mobile, you send that back to your web events so that you can optimize for them. And this can be tricky and takes months to be fixed. A little bit of the learnings that we found. So the CPM on web are really high. So if you see twice, 3 times, it's just normal. At the same time, the CTR are also higher. Here I brought like one examples. You need to like analyze more data, but it's just like for you to see. What you can see here is like the same creative testing done on app and done on web. And you can see that the insights are the same. The 2 winning creatives are the same. I didn't put the CPT, but I, of course, like I look at the CPT to evaluate them. But the problem is that the CPM are much higher, but also the CTR are higher. So at the end of the day, you end up paying less for a cost per trial. So again, it could be like a valuable way to actually substitute your app creative testing as well in a way that is like seamless, and actually you maybe spend even less for getting the same amount of results. Also, I didn't include CPT data, but web had actually lower CPT. Why does it have lower CPT, 60% lower? Why does it have high CTR? Because the audience that you're targeting with the same campaign setup is different. So you can see that there's a shift in age towards an more adult audience, let's say, when you actually test with web. So again, you can tap into a different audience. And also, yes, this is another learnings. The mini landing pages can be effective, but you have that extra step. There is a way to remove that extra step and have a seamless kind of flow where people land on the page and automatically the App Store will be preload on the page. You can do that by faking a link click directly on the page. So you're going to need your developers to help you there. To test this, you have to test it through sending your ads to Facebook and test the flow. Or you need to send the link of the landing page to a friend on a chat to see this behavior. But there's a lot of players that are using that, and it can be really, really powerful. Okay, let's go to the second one. It's going to be so hard to be on time. The paid content ads. So for this one, I'm just going to give you a really high level, because this requires an entire day of a presentation by itself. And if you are interested, I can send you a couple of resources online about this. The idea of web to app with paid content is that instead of landing people to a landing page, you land people to a piece of content. This is actually much more complex, I would say, than the mini landing pages, because there's a lot of more steps involved. And I would say it's ideal for products that are in a new vertical where you need to explain more about what they do. It's compatible with multiple channels. The beauty of it is that it can be used on Meta, but to be honest, it's great for channels like Albrin and Taboola. But again, you need to see if it makes sense for you. For Blinkist, it was one of the main channels, but because it made a lot of sense. It was about reading. People are reading online. So again, there's a lot of synergies. For other apps, it could be worse. I tested recently with one of my clients, and we saw that the conversion rate on Albrin was 3 times lower than the conversion on Meta. So even if Albrin was really cheap, it couldn't really lead to success. And then in general, it can lead to potential boost in LTV because you have higher renewal, because people better understand your product. There's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go through it because otherwise I'm not going to have time. But again, it requires a lot of time. It's really complex. Getting the content right is the most important things. And it can take up to 15 iteration, actually no, minimum 15 iteration to go from a promising piece of content to a winning piece of content where you have to double down and check. And actually, there's 2 experts here about paid content. So if you need support, you can go to this table later on. Again, it's really nice because it's evergreen. Once you found a winning piece of content, you can last almost forever with minimal change, although you need to change the creatives. That's it. If you want more information, reach out to me. Let's talk about the big guy. The web onboarding, because this is what everyone is talking about. I would describe the web onboarding as something in between in terms of complexity between the mini landing pages and the paid content. It's easier to get it right, the paid content, but it still requires a lot of work. Here I put random screenshots from different web onboarding, and it's so fun because they kind of work together. They're really similar, all the players that kind of copy each other. This is a complex approach. Normally you have 40 onboarding screen. That's crazy that people stay and actually complete 40 onboarding screen. And it's what Headway calls the empathy-based onboarding. And I really love the presentation that Yeva did at APS. So You can check it out if you want. The idea is like the onboarding is part of the product. You use it to onboard new user, create trust, tell them about you, and kind of create a connection with them. It allows you to directly sell on web. Of course, you can also redirect people in app, but I think it doesn't make sense. So you actually upsell and people buy directly on web. That means that you pay less to the store. And it's primarily used on social media because it also can help you tap into a completely different set of creatives that are more about like, hey, take this quiz, learn more about this, and so on. And I think what is crucial is that in this onboarding, you need to give something to the user. Like they need to have a aha moment where like, oh my God, I love this. Like this is telling me something about myself. The elements of the onboarding. You have the flow. It's long. Don't copy Headway. Don't do it. Like I know it's the easy way. It doesn't work for everyone. Even if you are doing something similar, it doesn't work. Like you need to develop something that is tailored to your users. And you need to provide like information to your user that makes sense. Tracking is actually easy because everything happens on web, so you just need to have the Facebook pixel. It's a little bit tricky to analyze the data because if you have 40 screens and you want to look at every screen, it can be, kind of like hard, but like we can talk about it later. On the campaign side, you just need to do a web campaigns optimized for like the purchase event. Also, one thing is that the ads that are used for these type of campaigns are usually different from the one that you use for apps as well. And then finally, you have tools that can help you with this. There's like, I literally found a tool 2 weeks ago that takes screenshots of onboarding for you. There's other tools that actually is like kind of a drag and drop solution where you can build your own flow, like Funnel Fox. So, no! What happened? Okay, good. Sorry, I was not able to see the slide anymore. So again, it's actually pretty good. A couple of learnings. If you look at the data for like 40, 50, 60 screen, you're going to go absolutely crazy. So don't do that. Try to cluster the screens so that you analyze each cluster, let's say. So this is an example here for a client that I'm doing. Another thing, there are like 3 important metrics, and I think Funnel Fox did like a good benchmark on that. First metric, how many people that reach the landing page go to the second screen? How many people reach the paywall? And how many people convert? If the conversion on the second screen is bad, it doesn't matter what you do later on. This is a mistake that I've done myself, like getting lost in number. So really look at that first page, and you need to make sure that you are in the benchmark. 40 to 60% needs to reach the second screen. And then, of course, like I think like we get lost in data, but we're talking about users. Do user research, talk with users. Actually, how I found the aha moment of like the web onboarding flow where I work with was by talking to user and understanding like, oh wow, they're feeling emotion on this screen. Something that the data did not tell me actually. So again, talk with the users. The paywall is one of the key elements, and you can play so much with it. You can play with the pricing. I did an analysis here. This is back in August, so probably things have changed of like the Headway prices. And what is incredible is that they offer completely different discounts, full price and final price, depending on where they want to direct the users. So you'll find that the price for web in most of the cases are a little bit like higher, but at the end, with the discount and everything, you're going to end up hopefully paying a little bit less. And also another thing is that product offer discounts on different plans. So you end up, for example, having the 3 months, the quarterly one, being the one that is like push the more because it makes more sense for the business. And a couple of things that I wanted to mention are, for me, and again, maybe it may not work for you, but what I found successful is usually using quarterly plan. And also to not look just at the ROAS that you get right away. Normally, I always optimize for ROAS day 8 because most of my apps have 7 days trial. If you're using quarterly plan, maybe your ROAS day 8 look like shit, but the one in 3 months actually look good. So if you can handle to have a loss for 3 months, this money may come back. And another thing is like, don't have trial on web. I think it makes more sense to not have trial and have people to purchase right away. Oh my God, so much. Okay, the last learning is that creatives, they may differ. And I think this is really the nice thing about web onboarding. If you are stagnating your creative production or success, you can actually tap into a completely set of audience that is more about like taking the quiz. You probably have seen ads like this. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that is a really important learning is personalization. So personalize the flow depending on the user that you're driving in. Headway does it at the beginning, the first screen. So I click on something that was about like being a good mother or something. And of course, like they are become a great parent to raise a happy child. If I click on another ads, it's different. But also within the flow, there are a lot of screens that actually are customized based on your own answer. Now, don't go crazy. Don't customize every single screen. It doesn't make sense. But try to understand for your audience, what are the things that makes them different? And then try to personalize the flow. That's it. They're finished. Sorry, I just like skip a slide. So a couple of learnings. Like I share a lot of things, but I think overall, just remember that mini landing pages can be the low-hanging fruits, but you need to get tracking right. Paid content, forget about it, in my opinion. Like not now, like, but talk with the experts. Maybe they can tell you how. And then web onboarding can really unlock a lot of potential. But you need to get it right and spend some time with it. And yeah, that's it. I'm actually out of time. Thank you so much. If you need to talk to me, I will be here the entire day. I will be happy to share more insights. And yeah, thank you for having me.